Have you ever had that strange feeling about a neighbor? A little too quiet, a little too watchful? That was Mr. Henderson for me. He moved in next door 6 months ago into the old house that had been empty for years. At first, he seemed harmless enough, a quiet, middle-aged man who kept to himself. He'd give a curt nod if we crossed paths, but never a smile. His windows were always drawn, and the only sign of life was the flicker of a television screen late at night. My bedroom window faced his house, and sometimes I'd find myself looking over, a strange curiosity pulling at me. One night, I couldn't sleep. It was around 2 a.m., and I saw a light on in his basement. It wasn't the usual dim glow. It was a bright, almost clinical white light that pulsed faintly. I tried to dismiss it. Maybe he was a night owl, a tinkerer, a hobbyist. But a cold knot of dread formed in my stomach. It just felt wrong. The next day, I noticed something odd. A single red rose had been placed on my front porch. No note, no card, just the rose, its petals, perfect and dewy. I asked my parents, my friends, no one knew anything about it. I threw it away, but the image of it stayed with me. It felt less like a gift and more like a statement, a message. A week later, another one appeared. This time, it was on the windowsill of my bedroom, the one facing his house. My heart pounded in my chest. How? My room is on the 2nd floor. There's a large oak tree nearby, but the branches are thick and difficult to climb. I checked the window lock. It was secure. I hadn't opened it in days. The feeling of being watched intensified, wrapping around me like a cold, damp blanket. I started drawing my curtains the moment I got home, avoiding my own window. Things started to escalate. I'd hear faint, scratching sounds at my window at night, like fingernails dragging against the glass. I'd tell myself it was just the tree branches in the wind, but the sound was too rhythmic, too deliberate. Then, packages I ordered started going missing from my porch, only to reappear a day later, opened, the contents slightly rearranged. It was a violation, a quiet invasion of my life that was screaming at me. One evening, I was home alone. My parents were out for dinner. I was watching a movie when my phone buzzed. It was a blocked number. I ignored it. It buzzed again and again. On the 5th call, a chilling sense of obligation made me answer. I said hello, my voice trembling. Silence. Then a low, raspy whisper that sounded like it was coming from right beside me. "I like your blue curtains," it said. Then the line went dead. I froze, my blood turning to ice. My curtains, my new blue curtains I had just put up that morning. No one knew about them. I hadn't posted about them, hadn't told anyone. I slowly turned my head towards the window. The curtains were drawn tight, but in the tiny gap where they met, I thought I saw a flicker of movement, a shadow disappearing. I ran to my parents' room, locked the door, and hid in the closet, dialing 911 with shaking hands. The police came. They checked the perimeter, found footprints in the garden bed right below my window. They questioned Mr. Henderson. He denied everything, of course. He was calm, polite, even concerned. He said he was watching TV all night. The police had nothing to hold him on. They told me to keep my windows locked and to call them if anything else happened. But how do you protect yourself from someone who seems to be everywhere and nowhere at once? The incidents stopped after the police visit. But the fear didn't. The silence from his house became more terrifying than the noises ever were. Every creak of my own house made me jump. Every shadow seemed to hold his shape. I felt like a prisoner in my own home. One night, driven by a desperate need for answers, I did something stupid. I knew he went out for groceries every Tuesday at 7 p.m., like clockwork. I watched him leave, and then, heart hammering against my ribs, I slipped over to his house. The back door was, to my horror, unlocked. The air inside was stale and cold. The house was sparsely furnished, but immaculately clean. Too clean. I crept down to the basement, drawn by a morbid curiosity. I couldn't resist. The door at the bottom of the stairs was heavy metal with a thick padlock, but it was unlatched. I pushed it open. The room was bathed in that same bright, clinical light I had seen from my window. The walls were covered in photographs. Dozens of them. They were all of me. Me walking to school. Me laughing with friends in my backyard. Me reading in my room, taken through my own window before I got the new curtains. And on a small, neat table in the center of the room, there was a single, perfect red rose in a crystal vase. Next to it was a small, velvet-lined box. My hands shook so hard I could barely open it. Inside, nestled on the velvet, were all the small things that had gone missing. A keychain, a tube of lip balm, a single earring, and my mail, all of it, neatly stacked and tied with a ribbon. Suddenly, I heard the front door upstairs open and close. He was back early. Panic seized me. There was no other way out. The heavy basement door clicked shut from above, followed by the metallic clang of the padlocks sliding into place. The light in the room flickered once, then went out, plunging me into absolute darkness. And then I heard his footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming down the stairs. I knew you'd come to visit. His voice echoed in the dark, that same raspy whisper from the phone call. I've been waiting. We have so much to talk about. A small light flickered to life, not from a bulb, but from a candle he was holding. It illuminated his face. He wasn't smiling. He was just watching. And I knew, in that chilling, silent moment, that my story was ending and his was just beginning. Thank you so much for listening. If this story sent a chill down your spine, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the dark. Stay safe out there, and maybe get to know your neighbors. Oh, maybe don't.